India's business of false flag terrorism in Pahalgam has turned into an economic, diplomatic and strategic disaster. Costly, humiliating and utterly exposed. Has India finally learned its lesson? It began with the notorious Pahalgam attack on April 22, 2025. As usual, India hastily blamed Pakistan without providing a shred of credible evidence. The Modi government, desperate to hide its domestic security failures, concocted a familiar narrative of external blame. But did the world believe it? No. Pakistan swiftly and smartly proposed joint international investigations involving the UN, UK and other neutral parties. India's blunt refusal raised global eyebrows. The suspicious timing of the attack and immediate media hype further exposed India's poorly scripted play. Internationally, from Washington to London, no nation bought India's narrative. Even the US, usually cautious, took a neutral stance, with Senator J.D. Vance urging restraint, while the OIC openly dismissed India's allegations as unfounded. Yet, despite global skepticism, Modi's India, driven by its RSS-fueled war hysteria, recklessly launched Operation Sindoor against Pakistan on May 6th. Was this aggression successful? Strategically, diplomatically and economically, it was an unmitigated disaster for India. Strategically, India faced unprecedented humiliation. Pakistan's valiant Air Force decisively countered, downing 6 Indian jets, including 3 much-hyped Rafale fighters, along with destroying a critical S-400 battery. India's supposed invincibility crumbled in hours, marking their second strategic defeat after the 2019 Abhinandan episode. Embarrassingly, the Indian military's fabricated claims, such as falsely announcing the destruction of Karachi port, were swiftly debunked, adding insult to injury. Diplomatically, India was isolated and exposed. While Israel stood as its solitary supporter, Pakistan rallied broad international backing. Turkey, Azerbaijan, Iran, China and multiple Arab states openly sided with Islamabad. Global powers, including Western countries, largely stayed neutral, refusing to legitimize India's aggression. India's repeated attempts at selling its false narrative failed spectacularly, resulting in diplomatic isolation that underscored India's eroding global credibility. Economically, India's reckless aggression inflicted devastating financial losses. The total economic cost for India surged past $234 billion. Military setbacks alone cost nearly $2 billion, including the $1.5 billion S-400 system, $956 million worth of jets and drones worth $54 million. Financial markets reacted with panic. Indian shares plummeted, wiping out $83 billion within days. Investors saw their wealth vanish by approximately $108 billion within a week. The Indian rupee faced its steepest single-day decline in years, dropping dramatically against the dollar. Flight cancellations and airspace restrictions incurred daily aviation losses amounting to millions. Even the IPL suspension dealt a blow of $6 billion to India's entertainment and media industry. But beyond numbers, this crisis unmasked a deeper truth. India's dangerous gamble of false flag terrorism is unsustainable and ultimately self-destructive. Internal voices are now rising within India, questioning Modi's reckless policies. Senior military officials, opposition politicians, and analysts openly critique this disastrous misadventure, acknowledging the devastating consequences of Modi's warmongering for internal political gain. International media, Reuters, BBC, Al Jazeera, The Telegraph, all highlighted India's costly strategic blunders and economic setbacks. Analysts at Moody's cautioned that heightened military spending would further erode India's fragile economy, forecasting prolonged fiscal damage. Pakistan, on the other hand, emerged diplomatically stronger, with IMF's release of financial support symbolizing international trust. Pakistan's strategic patience, mature diplomacy, and robust defense capabilities highlighted its responsible global image, contrasting sharply with India's recklessness. Will India ever learn from this costly, humiliating experience? The answer depends on India's ability to acknowledge its flawed strategy of terrorism and false flag operations. India must realize terrorism yields no victors, only isolation, humiliation, and catastrophic losses. For now, India's failed adventure stands as a stern reminder. False narratives and aggression against Pakistan will always be decisively defeated strategically, economically, and diplomatically. India has paid dearly. Perhaps it's time to rethink its destructive path. This is Amara Farat Baloch, and you are watching Nexus Bulletin.